the idea of like, for me, there's a lot of stuff, I make that decision. Like, do I want to see the Odyssey on a big screen? Fucking I went to a theater to just watch the trailer for that movie. And, did I, one battle after another, I wanted to go see in the theater. But there's movies of people that I really like and respect where, and I got a good system and shit, but I'm like, look, I'll watch it and I might get tired, or I want to pause it and take a piss, or the kids, whatever it is. That's conducive to my lifestyle, and so
most people's
I even
lifestyle.
see few. I think most people are,
But there is the experience of seeing it with a bunch of other people.
100%.
You see an awesome movie with a bunch of other people. It's like a shared experience.
100%. I always liken it to way more attention. Like when I went to see One Battle on IMAX, that feeling. There's nothing like that feeling. I took 2 of my kids and 2 of my nephews and my wife, and we all went, and it was like, and you're in with a bunch of strangers, but people in your community, and you're having this experience together. I always say it's more like going to church. Like, you show up at an appointed time. You know what I mean? It doesn't wait for you. It's versus the experience of watching at home. I think you're watching in a room, the lights are on, other shit's going on, the kids are running around, the dogs are running around, whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's just a very different level of attention that you're willing to, or that you're able to give to it. And that has a big effect. And it also ends up having an effect, or is starting to have an effect, on how you make movies. Like, for instance, Netflix, the standard way to make an action movie that we learned was, you usually have like 3 set pieces, one in the first act, one in the second, and one in the third. And, they kind of ramp up, and the big one with all the explosions, and you spend most of your money on that one in the third act. That's your kind of finale. And now they're like, can we get a big one in the first 5 minutes to get somebody, we want people to stay tuned in, and it wouldn't be terrible if you reiterated the plot 3 or 4 times in the dialogue, because people are on their phones while they're watching, you know what I mean?
Oh, no.
And so then it's going to really start to infringe on
creatively
how we're telling the
but
story.
then you look at Adolescence, it didn't do any of that.
It didn't do any of that.
And it's fucking great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's dark too. It's tragic and intense. It's like guy who finds out this kid's accused of murder, and it's like, and there's long shots in the back of their head. They get in the car, nobody says anything. I think there are those. Look, these
I wish that were
like,
that feels more like the
that
exception.
trick,
It's so masterfully made that it feels a little more like the exception. I hope it's not.
My feeling is just that it demonstrates that you don't need to do any of that shit to get people. You know what I mean? Like, and I think yes. Like, look, hey, the town had the action thing in the beginning of the first 5 minutes, because you know what I mean? Like, it's a common trick that you would go like, let me grab them and get them invested in them. It's like the movies that start with the hero hanging from the cliff, and now we're going to flash back to the beginning and tell you how they got there. I always feel like complaining about it makes me feel like one of these guys who's like, when I was a boy, like, you always want to freeze the culture at the time when you, I don't know, felt more like, we didn't used to have these phones. The fuck are all these phones? And everybody's looking at their phone. I get it. Yes, it's true. Also, it's like supply and demand. People want to look at their phone. They can look at TikTok. They want, they're going to do that. I think what you can do is make shit the best you can. Make it really good. And, people can still go to the movies. It's not like, I think we have this idea that's like an existential threat. Everything that comes along is going to destroy everything. Instead of like, what history suggests is that there's like marginal encroachments, things shift. Yep, as television came along, there was less theater going, and that's still going to happen. And people are still going to go to the movies because of what you said. Like, it feels like a cool thing to do. I'm going to go see the Odyssey, I guarantee you, in a theater, no matter what. Fewer of them. You could argue that's because I have more choice or whatever it is. It's hard to fight supply and demand. That's the trick, right? If people want to watch a bunch of stuff at home because they invested in TVs and cost us money, they will. So, okay. But the upside of that is, like, I can try to do something, hopefully that's like, that actually doesn't need to, have the most urgency to get you to come to the theater with your family. That's a little more experimental or risk-taking or whatever in that way.
Well, you got to adapt. I mean, there's no way you're going to change people's viewing habits now.
No.
I mean, what percentage of Netflix is actually watched on phones? It's got to be pretty high, which is insane.
Yeah.
Even watching on a laptop, for me, is kind of like, kind of sucks, you know?
It sucks. Yeah.
That's joke that I like to make with every director I work with, like when they're really puzzling over a shot or really grinding out something, I go, it's not going to look as good on the phone. When just everyone gets angry.
It takes the wind out of their fucking sails. No, that's going to look great this fucking big, but keep fucking around and lighting that. We'll also,
It is weird though, the concern for the algorithm, like making sure that people watch. Like, look, we've got data that shows within the first 5 minutes when this happens, they tune out. So it's like my buddy Tony Hinchcliffe. Yeah. He's got Kill Tony, and now it's on Netflix, and so they're giving him notes now, and they can give him but they're not telling him what to do, but they're saying like this is when people are tuning out, and so let's just so you have that data now, decide how you want to edit things. That's like
slippery slope. It is because it's like the bar for walking out of a movie theater is a lot higher than from just changing the channel. Right. And oftentimes, directors will want to make a movie that is challenging and upsetting. And I remember Terry Kinney, my friend, great actor, and he told me about the experience of seeing Taxi Driver in New York for the first time, right, in '76 or whenever it came out. And he said, what I remember is not only the movie, but I remember standing at the back because I got up out of my seat and I went, but I couldn't bring myself to leave because I was so invested. He goes, I was standing at the back by the door watching the movie, and he goes, and there were 2 other people standing next to me who were doing the same thing.
Just because they were disturbed?
Because the movie was disturbing them so much.
Wow.
Which is not a bad thing, right? So had that been on Netflix or Amazon, if somebody says, I'm disturbed, and they change the channel, like that doesn't mean you shouldn't make Taxi Driver.
Right, that's true. Like the investment of going to a place is much greater.
Yeah, and one of the values of that is that you look at movies from the 70s and 80s, the first act is 25, 30 minutes.
Right.
The Verdict, for instance, is a great movie. It takes a long time to get going.
Look at the Deer Hunter.
Yeah,
I mean, that's...
And you're right, like what you're saying, the threshold for walkout is real, like any scene, like, I want to watch Naked and Alone. Like, whatever, you flip the fucking... So you are battling that, and,
I watched Le Mans the other night, Steve McQueen, and there's no one talks for like 5 minutes. There's no talking. It's just a bunch of stuff getting done. Yeah. Just a bunch of people doing things, and it's like, wow, you could make it different. You could let it air out back then.
Yeah.
They had a different respect for what it was. Like you were telling a story, and you're gonna let it air out.
Well, they also knew where their audience was. Yeah. They were in a theater that they.
Part of it was they wanted to come there. I mean, this great story I like is the first time they debuted a movie, guys, with a projector in a room full of people. It was a movie of a train pulling into the station. So they put the reel up and they did demonstrate and they showed the people, and everybody missed it because they were turned around staring at the projector. They never fucking seen anything like that. So it's like the technology's upstaging, but like you come for an event, come for a thing. We're all going to be here. That's part of it. It's I don't know. There's competing arguments. So you can think, well, what do you get to do? And some people just go ahead and fuck it. Like Jim Cameron's Avatar, I'm going to make my 3-hour movie, and people are going to come, and great. You know what I mean? And people say, oh, well, you can't have a 3-hour movie. And he's like, well, I'm Jim Cameron, and I've actually got the #1 and 2 and movies. I think I got this. He goes ahead and does it. This history's full of people who got told a bunch of conventional wisdom and were like, yeah, but we're going to do something different. And as it turns out, like that's actually what people want too, is not for you to just repeat the other shit that's been done before and that worked before.